Hi all, welcome to day 9. Let's go to the mountain. Okay, so sounds funny, right? And I think sounds nice also. So this one is very simple. I think it will. I'll categorize to this one to an easier side. But then let's get started and see how we actually want to achieve this one, right? Okay. So we start by basically drawing a rough sketch of the mountain, and we place where we want our trees to be, right? So we only do that at the starting. So you're gonna just very so think about how many peaks you want in your mountain, and it can be different from mine. I don't know if you want to do it exactly I'm doing, then you can just go ahead, or you can make your own. And then see how rough I'm drawing like trees, right? So that's the only rough sketch that I'm looking for. Okay, and then we start by wetting our paper. So we do the sky area first, and then we'll come back to the bottom of the page where our mountains are. So we'll wet the area above the mountain, which is basically our sky. Okay, so we wet that whole area with a clean water. And then, as I always recommend you guys, that make sure that your paper is like wet and you don't leave any puddles of water here and there, right? So make sure that there are no puddles of water. It has to be a very clean wash of water, which the shine will actually show you that it's a very clean wash of water, right? So that's we want to target. And then just go over your paper a couple of times to ensure that the water is properly soaked in inside the paper. The paper absorbs some bit of water, some is lying over the surface, right? So just go over very nicely that is quite moist, and it can just bring out the colors. Okay, so we start by putting some ultramarine blue for the sky, or if you want, you can also use cerulean blue. And for the darker version, either you use Payne's gray, or I'll say Persian blue or indigo will also do fine, or you can mix ultramarine with Payne's gray. Okay, so these are a couple of options that you can go ahead with. So initially we start with putting ultramarine blue on top of the paper for adding the sky. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting our ultramarine blue. And now here also, right, you can do as you want. So you can do a mix of sky where you put like paint some area with blue color, leave some area, then again paint some area, right? Or you can also use a lifting technique. So if you want to make this sky a little brighter, then also you have to remember that the foreground colors would also be brighter. For me, this is little bit on the gloomy side, not way too dark and not light also, right? So I am adding indigo at the bottom now. And then we just soften that out with a clean wash of water, right? So that is what I'm doing, and then adding some Payne's gray to make it dark. And then I think I'll do another layer at the top for this ultramarine blue, and then we can again go over the same wash to make it more darker at the bottom, right? And then just soften it out basically. Okay. So adding more ultramarine blue because that looked lighter, way lighter, and if it gets dry, it would be very light. As you guys know by now, I think we have done couple of lessons. You now understand how watercolor works, right? And we're doing few more, like lot more, so you will understand. And I think by the end of the session, you get a pretty good understanding of how this needs to be done. But practice, guys. Yeah, practice is very important. So just keep practicing. Okay. So now, if you want, you can add more darker versions. So I'm gonna add another darker version because now it's like not visible now, but very nicely. So we can make the bottom version also a little bit darker. So I'm using Payne's gray now, on top of the blue that we have done, right, to make it more darker. The mountain would be little darker. Okay, so you soften the edges because we don't want any hard edges. Okay. Now let's start by adding. So we'll just wet our mountain because we will start by adding or like making our mountain. So as you saw at the starting, our mountain is a pitch dark paints gray mountain or black mountain, and at the top there's like some dry brushing that I did, right? So we're gonna follow exactly same. Okay, so I am started adding some paints gray now, right? So as you can see, it's like a darker version, lighter version, and you know that we work on layers, right? So you do base layer, then on top of it you add more colors, right? And you make it a little dark. So slowly and steadily we add multiple colors. Okay, see how it is coming alive right now. So beautiful. Okay. So now take a darker consistency. So the pigment should be more on a brush rather than water. And then we start by adding more color onto that mountain. Remember, this is also we are doing wet on wet. So make sure that you have wetted the mountain. Okay, and we have intentionally left that upper part of the mountain. Not that we have left. So what we are going to show, this is like the front mountain, the four front mountain, right? And then there's a mountain at the back, basically. But then I want to show some snow also on that mountain, like some texture on that mountain, right? Maybe the stones are lighter in color, maybe there's something on that mountain. So basically, um, a lighter version of the mountain, basically. Okay, so you can choose to actually. So what I recommend is basically take the color on your brush, damp it in your paper towel, and then just do this dry brushing. So just rub your brush across the mountain. So there's a dry brushing technique that we are using over here. Okay, so that's how our mountain will also be done. And see how it's looking so pretty. So you can see this mountain at the front and then there's mountain at the back. Okay, so now the mountain is worked. We'll start by adding some trees for our foreground, right? So we said gloomy autumn foreground. We start with you can start with actually lemon yellow, gomboj, or maybe Indian yellow also, right? So it's up to you what you want to do. The process stays same. So we do the hues of yellow as a base layer, and then we add orange red on top of it, right? So you're gonna make us, and also as of now I'm trying to make mix of pine and normal trees over here, and you can choose to paint any tree that you want. It can be the same similar kind of tree, meaning the structure of the tree can be very similar, or it can be something else. So it's just up to you what you want to add. I think you can try to make similar to mine for the first one, and if you want to repeat this one and then maybe try something else, then you can give it a go. Okay. So basically, variations will actually help you practice more, right? And they will also teach you as in how to approach one landscape with multiple things. It will just actually improve your watercolor skills. Okay, so we're gonna do across from right to left. I'm gonna do the same process. So we are gonna do initially this particular layer, and then we'll add more on top of it, because the artwork is like that you're standing on this side, basically from where you are looking at the trees, and then very far there is a mountain. So that's our concept for this one. So I am adding actually scarlet on top of this one, but then you can also go ahead and add orange. I think that will do a nice job because it's gonna give you a nice contrast. Okay, so if you make your sky lighter and not gloomy, then you can basically do orange, and then on top of it maybe drop some scarlet, right? So that will be the variation that you can go. Anyways, when you add scarlet on top of yellow, it's gonna turn to orange anyways, right? But maybe lighter version if you want, then pick a less pigment. As of now, I'm using scarlet, and at some areas randomly, I'm doing scarlet on top of the yellow that we have put. Okay, and then to draw this one, it's very nice. So you do this dab 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 right from left to right, and that's how we draw it. Okay, so we continue doing same. So basically you will see my brush movements, right? They are dab 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 from left to right. That's how that movement we are gonna follow. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, so continue doing same, and then if you feel like that you want to increase the height of a tree, then I think this is the opportunity. We're using scarlet, so it's a darker version, and it will also go over the cloud. So you can think about doing that as well. Okay. See how beautiful it is looking, right? So what is missing from this artwork? You wanna tell me? Maybe some darker shadows around the trees, right? So once you're done doing this one, then we will go ahead and add some darker shadows. So let's complete till the left, and then we're gonna pick some darker shadows and then do it. See, I'm now mixing some orange because I think it was like too full of red, so I thought let's make it little bit orange. So I'm recommending, or maybe like you can guys can try out. So try out this way, and then maybe do it orange first and then scarlet on top of it. It's gonna give you a very natural feel to it, and it'll stand out. It will make your artwork stand out a bit. Okay. So yeah, let's continue doing this one. Okay, so now this is an optional step. If you feel like doing it, then I recommend you to go ahead and do it. So you can add some greens on top of these trees that we have made. Okay, so you add some trees, and if your trees are not standing out, then makes your you can use lemon yellow and green mixed with a tint of white gauze to make them stand out, or make them blended in, right? So we are gonna use olive green anyways, or sap green mixed with some red. Uh, to add it to that hue, right? And then it kinds of act as a shadow also at some places, and it gives a very contrasting feeling to the artwork. Okay, and then just go ahead and take some darker version of the red. So you can take I'll say burnt sienna, or you can mix Payne's gray in your scarlet and do it, or you can actually take brick red, right? So there are different brick brown also, I think, right? And then if you feel that there is a too much white space available, then two things you can do. You can take the color and then mix as I am doing, or you can take plain water in your brush and then swipe over it. So it will just fill all the whites that are visible on the paper. Right? So I need still few whites on the paper, but not lot of whites on the paper. Okay. Once that is done, so you continue to add your darker shadows. And once that is done, we are gonna go ahead and add the stems. Okay. So I am using a much darker version of the red now and adding on the trees. Okay, so now adding some more yellows, because I think mine got very darker in shade and I want to put some yellows on top of it. Maybe later I'll go ahead and add some cadmium yellow so it just pops out. And I think we'll add some trees, sorry, not trees, the branches on the trees, and it will just stand out the artwork. It will make a huge difference to what we are seeing right now. Okay, so I have not added any birds to this one, I think. But then if you feel like you want to add birds, then you can maybe add birds also. Yeah. Okay. So adding some, so basically the tree trunk and tree branches here and there. So the mix of trees, right? So I can see two pines, one on the right, one on the left. Then there's a field of trees, right? That is visible. And see how I'm drawing. So we're gonna do this upward movement, up and down, up and down, up and down very quickly with the brush. So not focusing on any areas, but moving our brush very quickly to form those lines. Okay, and I'm making some bare branches also. So like make a tree branch and then make some branches going out here and there, but then don't do any detailings on them, right? So that's how, see how much of a difference it makes. Right now what we are seeing is a gloomy weather that makes your artwork and your mountain looks a bit darker, right? That's what we were achieving. So glad, right? It came out how we wanted to achieve it. Very nice. So now you understand the concept now, how you want to approach a painting, and how you want to put the mood in a painting, how you want to reflect that mood in the painting. It's very easier once you start understanding the basics of how where's the light, where's the shadow, how you want to reflect a mood in a painting. Now it becomes very easier for us to do it. Okay. And then now basically these are correction steps, right? So if you think that some areas are light, some areas are dark, it's looking too bland, it's looking too empty, then I just recommend you guys to take your call. If you want to add some branches, go ahead and add it. If you want to keep them bare, keep them bare. But if you're adding something, add very few. Okay, so just take your judgment call. Basically now you look at your painting from a very distance. So basically I want you all to pick up your board, acrylic board, or your paper block if you're using. Look it from the distance and see how your painting is looking, what improvement it needs. So last of the painting is nothing but correction that needs to be done across. Okay, so for me, it was missing yellows actually, the touch of yellow. Everything was all red and it was looking too dark, right? Still, it will look dark when I add yellow, but then that pop of yellow was actually missing from some places, and I said, okay, why not let's go ahead and add that. Okay, if you're not comfortable doing that, then I just recommend you to do it once your whole painting is dry, and then do it with the mix of gouache. Okay, so thank you so much guys for joining me in this class, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson thoroughly. I have forced you to see a different version of what you're gonna create. I'm so excited to see your class projects. So we meet in the next class. I hope you enjoy. Bye bye.